Welcome to another episode of Why Am I Here and He Is Not? A father's journey to make sense of love, loss, and hope. I'm Larry Klopot, and this is my story and my family's story about navigating the endless journey of grief because of the sudden death of my son on May 2nd, 2024. In previous episodes, I was reading excerpts from journals from the early months following that terrible day. More than a year has passed and my journal has grown longer and longer. For this episode, I'm going to read a few random entries that I wrote as the months since added up. Thank you for listening to our story. August 18th, 2024, 7:30 a.m. Lonely days. Dear Alex, before May 2nd, I would have said that loneliness was a state of mind that was caused when no one was around to talk to or do things with. There were certainly times in my life that I was lonely by that standard. Since that day in May, being lonely has taken on a new and anguish-filled meaning for me. Loneliness no longer just means that no one is around. It now comes over me with near unbearable intensity because you are not around, and never will be. Loneliness now exists for me even when I'm with friends, when I'm on a golf course, when I'm dealing with colleagues, when I'm eating dinner or watching TV with your mother, when I'm rifling through your stuff downstairs, and even when I'm alone by choice. The last couple of weeks have been very difficult because the new sense of loneliness seems to be increasing with each passing day. You are in my thoughts so much no matter what I'm doing or where I am, which highlights that my thoughts are the only place you can be now. That makes me lonely. I have more and more flashbacks of that morning, which highlights that you were gone. That makes me lonely. We talk about you to our friends and family and to other people using the past tense. That makes me lonely. I've recently thought a lot about the future. I think about what will become of you and the memory of you. Will everyone's memory of you focus on the really good side of you? Will memories fade? How will I react next week to being on Buckhorn Lake with your mother, Rita, and Addie? Will I be ready for that? Even as I write this, the strength of the memories of the times we spent on that lake are so very vivid. The hours on the rented fishing boat, cruising the lake with our friend's speedboat, you and your friend Michael hitting golf balls off the sand into the lake, and so on and so on. Will my shattered heart embrace the memories of you when we were there? Will we forge lifelong memories of being there with Addie and Rita? Or will melancholy be my mood all weekend? My thoughts about the future are in the context of you. One day we will move from this house. I don't know if that will be a good thing. I've told you before that I still see and hear you there. I sit sometimes on the couch in my usual place and see you turning the corner from the hall, pushing Addie towards me on that little car with you and her laughing all the way. Whenever I hear the sound of the door that leads to the stairs, it makes my mind immediately think back to you opening or closing that door. What will happen when we don't live here and I don't hear that sound or see that sight? I hope your memory will stay as strong as it is now. The X opened this weekend, opening the floodgates of more strong memories. You did love the X. We will miss getting all those gadgets and gimmicks that you would buy for us. You were a sucker for a good pitch person telling everyone how much easier their life would be if only they would buy what they were selling. Those thoughts bring back laughter to my soul and a smile to my face. I just wish you were here to see that. The past is the only thing you and I have now. No present and no future, so I will need to learn how to make do with that. I want to get to a place where I feel you with me without the intensity of the pain of loss. I want to get to a place where I am not a burden on your mother because I would shrivel away if not for her love and support. I want to help her heal as much or more than she helps me heal. I want to be comforting part of your daughter's life as much as she is a blessing in ours. There is work to do to achieve all that. August 20th, 2024. LA was a genius. Hey, LA. If you were here, you would likely be surprised that I called you LA. I do remember a time when you tried to insist that we call you that. You were a bit angry when we said that to us. You are Alex, period. Thankfully, that discussion didn't come up often. In fact, I don't recall that discussion coming up again over the past many years. I wonder now if we made the correct decision. I always thought that LA was the street name that had the worst side of you attached to it. I now know I was completely wrong. It was just you, the great you, the good you, the troubled you, the happy you, the street smart you, the vulnerable homebody you. It was all you. When your friends use that moniker when they talk about you to us, I have a completely different view. When I hear it now, it evokes in me some regret that I never understood its importance, but hearing it reminds me that you were an enigma to so many, including us. I think you're an enigma to yourself as well. Maybe that's what drove you. Maybe that's why you seem to be searching for contentment in your place in the world. I am pained beyond what I would have thought possible because I know that you belonged in this world. And I know how close you were so many times to finding what you were looking for. LA, I don't know how we would be moving along, but never moving on from you without the help of some of your friends. They have helped us go through the stuff that you have amassed throughout your life. Like our friends and relatives, some of your friends have stepped up and some did step away. But the ones that have extended a helping hand do it because they loved you and miss you so much. You left your mark. I also wanted you to write about your feelings and your life. I know you sometimes did do that, and there were times you let me read your latest piece, giving me a peek into your world. Even with the angst that jumped off the page, I felt closer to you and more optimistic that it would all work out. I was also happy when you wanted to buy equipment to start recording your thoughts through music. Lately, you played some of the music you created for me. I know it was in rough state, but I beamed inside and told you truthfully that I thought it was great. There was some peace for me knowing that your last couple of days on earth were filled with making music and videos. It also saddens me and breaks my heart that you will not see the results of your creativity and work. I wish you knew how much your music friends are doing to finish it for you and release it for the whole world to hear. Addie will know you even better through that music. The other night, Pierre and Dave spent some time with us at the house talking about you. We can never, ever get enough stories about you and how you impacted others. They talked about the studio, about your passion when you were there, about the process of making the music and your contributions. They both agreed with something that blew us away and that had our hearts filled with pride. They both called you a genius. They went on and on about how lyrics flowed out of you, how those lyrics captured your soul, your pain, your joy, your life. I, of course, wish I heard that while you were with us. I wish you lived to reap the rewards, but just as I wish all that, I am so happy to know that your passion and legacy will live on in the music. We will continue to honor you, L.A. September 21st, 2024, 6 p.m. Back in the Hood, Part 2. A few days ago, we met with Rita and Addie for dinner at a place in the neighborhood where we lived until Alex was in his mid-teens. It is the area where we became parents, where we forged many good friendships, where Alex made many friends, and where, as he got older, he began to lead his up and down life. It was where so many of our great memories came from. It was there that Alex first showed his on-ice prowess, and where he and I played ball hockey on the street countless number of times. It was where I settled into my favorite occupation, being a dad. We've been back to the Hood many times with memories always flooding in. Before May 2nd, the memories that jumped into our head as we went to or drove past the area were mostly ones that we cherished. The parks, the school, the houses, the restaurants, the stores, the karate school at the corner, and the people were all markers of mostly good time in our lives. Some of the negative memories also came to mind, but seemed less important as time went on. That was all to change because of that morning 141 days ago. Our perspective of life on St. Clair has now taken on a different memory point of view. I came to realize that with clarity as we went to eat that evening a few days ago. With my heart bursting from love for Addie, I felt like I was walking on air when I took her out of the restaurant, leaving Rita and Arleen to eat and chat. I held her tiny hand in mine and beamed with pride and joy when so many people smiled at us when they saw this tiny girl with her bigger-than-most Zadie. We walked up and down the street as I yacked to her, and as she looked around in wonder. Then, out of the blue, she looked up, extended her arms, signaling that she now wanted to be carried and perhaps to be hugged. We looked in every window, and she pointed to the things that she wanted to take a closer look at. It was then that I felt the absence of Alex the most. One store had little caricatures of a man and a woman stuck on the window. They represented the husband and wife lawyers whose storefront it was. Addie wanted to touch the window and the cutouts. She then stopped, touched, and stared at the one of the man. I can't be sure, but she seemed to say Daddy as she pointed and touched it. Up to that point, I was saying to her things about Alex and referring to him as your daddy, as I droned on about him. I had no idea that it might have been sinking into her thoughts, or that she might have understood where we were and what I was saying. As we continued to walk, she held on to me just a little tighter, as I pointed to places that Alex went to when we lived there. I pointed out the McDonald's where he wanted to eat all the time, the street that led to the park that he played in when he was a baby and a toddler, to a corner store where he spent his money on candy, all the while saying, your daddy is this or your daddy is that. When we went back to the restaurant to meet up with Arleen and Rita, who were getting ready to leave, Addie seemed so happy to hug her mom. As we left to walk to the car, I carried her and she hugged me so tight and didn't want to let go. She did seem melancholy. Was she just feeling my grief and sadness that I was having trouble hiding the whole time as I talked about, had memories of, and felt the presence of her daddy? Or did she understand and feel more than we would have thought possible? Was she just catching my vibe, or was she also feeling his absence? I also felt that melancholy, but still trying to hide it, as I reluctantly handed her to Arleen to say goodbye and then to Rita to put her in the car. I did manage to hold it together, but then felt the pangs of grief for the rest of the night. It was comforting, though, thinking that if she did feel something, it was something about her father, our son. Maybe his legacy will live in her. Monday, November 11th, 2024. 7 a.m. It is omnipresent. The pain and the immense hole in your soul when a child dies is ever present. It walks with you wherever you go. It rises up with even the slightest provocation. People can see it in your eyes just as you can see it in others' eyes if they too have lost a child. It has a movie and a soundtrack ready to start playing at any time. It grabs your inner being and hangs on when you are alone with just your thoughts. It eases sometimes when you look at pictures or movies of your child, but it can also increase to almost unbearable levels sometimes when you look at the same pictures in the same movies. It can make every other setback in life more acute with a sense that anything bad that happens to you is just piling on to the weight on your grief. It dulls the pleasure of anything good that happens as it reminds you that your child is not there to celebrate with you. It forces you to say 1,000 times a day that you will persevere, and just as often, it makes you think that the future is dark. For some, it accompanies unshakable sense of guilt and regret. It dares you to put it in your back pocket, even for a short time, but it's always just a thought away. It has another byproduct that for me was unexpected. It causes you to be much more aware of relationships with everybody. Those who are aware that it is omnipresent in you, even if they can't imagine it for themselves, and show both empathy and a desire to distract, but not pretend to deny, reach your heart with sincerity. Those that must know that it exists in you but don't lean in for you become more and more inconsequential to your struggles. Animus towards the latter group can fester until you realize they just don't matter. Your journey is yours, and the ones that ease it are the most important ones in your life. That is a lesson that's not easy to learn and live by. That pain and that hole have been part of me for 193 days. Thought that it eases over time have been dispelled, but perhaps it does begin to take on a new form. Not less painful, and the hole not any smaller, but rather more permanent. Denial of the cause of it is gone. Trying to figure out when it will ease no longer takes place. Understanding that it is a fixture that must be recognized to truly navigate your grief becomes clear, and knowing that it doesn't just represent loss, it also represents love, are all part of the permanence of it. Another critical lesson you learn about is to not let it get in the way of reveling in other people's joy, especially the joy they have that comes from their children and grandchildren. As it becomes more and more permanent, it needs to stand alone and represent your loss and not overtake your ability to feel happiness for others. In the days and weeks after May 2nd, I wasn't sure that I could easily learn that lesson. It clouded my view of the world. Thankfully, not now. In fact, I think I need to hear and feel their joy so that I don't wallow in a nihilistic view of life. I've also learned that pure joy and pure love can be experienced when I think about or when we are with Addie. I do wonder if she will feel a degree of it as she gets older and thinks about her dad. I hope her thoughts will be positive. In the meantime, I will try and set those thoughts aside for now and hope that she feels nothing but the love that we have for her. I hope she grows up being fascinated with the wonders of life and one day be able to feel the love that is boundless for her own child, just as Rita feels it for her now and how Alex felt in the all too short time he was with her. Life lessons are hard. Life can be hard. Loss can be hard and deep. Managing it can seem impossible at times. Not letting it stop you from feeling anything else is just so damned important. Laughing again, loving again, just being again are the true keys to living with it. I hope I have, and I hope I can. February 2nd, 2025. 7:45 a.m. I need you too. Dear Alex, over the past few weeks, my spirit, my inner emotions, my view of life without you, and my sense of myself have taken a lot of hits. The darkness and loneliness I feel are only occasionally moved aside for shorter periods of time. I see in your mother's face the strain and stress, not only from your absence, but also from the weight and burden I have put on her and our life in general. As she looks for answers, I feel her pain more acutely. Often I am overwhelmed by grief and guilt that I am not a better provider, husband, and partner for her, and was not a better dad and protector to you. Grief is a very lonely road with only a few rest stops along the way. I have made that road bumpier for her. A few days ago, I was downtown for lunch and decided to walk from Union Station to Bloor because I wanted, in my head, to spend time with you on the way home. I walked a long way in the underground path, looking at all the young men and women going about their daily routines, just as I had done when I worked in the area when I was young. I kept telling you that those days, when I was part of the crowd, I thought the world was spinning in my favor. I had a very young son at home and a vibrant, beautiful wife. We had our ups and downs, but the future was unfolding as it should. I believed then that I was breaking out of my self-imposed jail of low self-esteem that I carried from childhood. I kept telling you during that part of the walk that I wanted to go back and start our life over so I could correct the many mistakes I made over the years. I wanted to make the idealism and innocence of youth a permanent part of our life as a family. As I walked through the Eden Center and then walking up Yonge Street, waves of memories filled my thoughts. I remember going to the LeBron James documentary during TIFF at Dundas so many years ago, going with you to the McDonald's many times when you lived downtown, shopping at a surplus store now long gone, waiting for you as you spent an extraordinary amount of time picking out the perfect bong at the head shop. I relived so many little moments in our life. We, with you now alive in my head, also saw many homeless and needy people. I remember when you told me how to figure out if someone was scamming or was really in need. I found myself on that walk giving money to the people I thought you would have given to. I felt your spirit. I felt your compassion. I felt better for doing that. You now only live in me, but I do need your help. I need your help to find a way to have the confidence and the ability to move forward. I need you to help me find a way to honor you. I need you to help us make sure Addie knows who you are. I need you to help me find a purpose. I need you to help me feel even a little bit more important to someone or anyone. I have come to realize that I need the spirit of you to tell me that the good memories I have of your life are also good memories of my life. Not quite there yet. So, my dear son, the reality and truth of life now is that I still need you and always will. These past 276 days have been so hard without you. Monday, March 17th, 2025, 9 a.m. The wait. Weeks have passed since I wrote in this journal. It's not been for any lack of inner feelings that need to be expressed or any sense that life is easier, that I think of Alex any less. The truth is that I think of him more now than ever before, and I feel pain in my heart and soul even more. It does seem like I'm walking through life with new weights being placed on my shoulders with every step. Also, with every step, I can feel my self-worth and self-esteem drip out of me like a leaking faucet, constant and obvious. For a while, I was riding a little higher from the focus of trying to get this podcast idea off the ground. Encouragement came from many sources except from the most important source, me. I'm realizing that I can't get this done in a vacuum. I need help in the minutia because I don't seem to be able to muster the discipline to begin. The lack of any real progress adds to the weight that is constantly increasing on my back. I can talk a good game about why I want to do it, about how it might look and feel, and the stories I want to tell, but that all falls apart when I try to take the first organizational step. I do still cry every day, and sometimes overtly and sometimes only on the inside. The movie that I've talked about a lot that plays in my brain now gets stuck sometimes in very specific moments in the entire span of Alex's life and my life together. I see and physically feel tiny moments that get amplified in my thinking. Walking into a hockey arena, going to a Raptor game together, watching him play in the backyard when he was a toddler, a conversation I had with him in the car, etc., etc. I see the little moments along with the big moments, and I relive that morning many times a day, dwelling on the fact that I should have done more to save him. I've been thinking a lot about memories. What happens to them when no one is left to have them about him or me or Arleen or anyone else? My memory bank is filled with moments in my life as a child when my personality and self-esteem issues were taking root. I remember the feeling of missing out because I had to work, but when my cognitive abilities wane or when I'm gone, those intense moments will be lost forever. This has made me think of my own mortality much more than ever before. I look around the house at the mementos, the papers, the hats, the stuff in general that I never thought much about before, because I knew Alex would get them and do what he wanted with them. The comforting thought that they might mean something to him and that piece of my legacy would be tied to them was gone. I know Addie will have some of his stuff, but mine will mean nothing to anyone. That is tough to think about for me now. The feeling of being more and more isolated and lonely continues for me. My comfort is Addie, and my gratitude is to Rita for allowing Addie to be so much a part of our lives. Watching her grow and seeing her smile when she sees me lessens the weight I feel if just for a moment or two. Watching Arleen and Addie together brings me peace and happiness. For half of my life, I defined myself as a dad, his dad. There's no roadmap to that place where redefining yourself happens. I don't know how to do it, and I really don't want to. Being all that a dad should be now lives in my past. That is my struggle. Our journey continues. Our loss is huge. Our search for meaning also continues. I'll end this podcast episode with this entry. April showers are just tears. I realized a long time ago, in fact for the past 11 months after that day, that birthdays will never be the same. My birthday, his birthday, Arleen's birthday, Rita's birthday, and more importantly, Addie's birthday will be celebrated with a large missing piece. The missing piece for Addie will be knowing that her dad, who never had the opportunity to say happy birthday to his beautiful daughter, won't be there with her. I hope with all my heart that she understands through our stories how much he looked forward to her first birthday. Of the many sad and empty days since May 2nd, my birthday this year on April 2nd started as the saddest and emptiest. I woke and wept that morning because I would not be getting a card this year from my son. A card where he expressed his true feeling about me and about our relationship, just like the cards he gave me every year. I did read over and over again that morning the card he gave me last year. His words comforted me, while at the same time ripped open the hole in my heart even more. He wrote, "Through the good and bad times, we are still here together. Thank you for teaching me to become the best dad I could be. I would never be able to do this without you. I'm frustrated about a lot of things. It never changed my heart and how much I love you. Thank you for always taking me places and bailing me out all the time. You're a great dad and one of the most amazing human beings in the world. Happy birthday. Love, Alex." I read that so many times, with each time being as heart-wrenching as the first. I wanted and wished, knowing that wish will never come true, that he would be with us as I marked that milestone birthday. I wanted no parties, no fuss, no acknowledgement, no special events this year. I just wanted my son to be here. Arleen saw my pain and extreme grief. Rita understood that my heart is broken. Together, they gave me a gift that day that I will never forget. They gave me a gift that lifted me up and showed me that he did give us all a gift with Rita that is pure love and that will last for my lifetime. The gift of watching Addie grow and find wonder in this world. I wrote this on my birthday in an Instagram post. Is there a better gift than watching a child's eyes filled with wonder and amazement, especially if that child is your grandchild? Arleen and Rita gave me that gift at Ripley's Aquarium for my birthday. Seeing Addie's joy and interest at all she was seeing really was a gift for the ages, and in my case, the aged. Seeing her amazement, holding her in my arms, being with the three of the most important people in my life now, was what I needed most that day. Then came the next April event, Arleen's birthday, which was also her first without our son. The pain of loss is hard to describe in yourself, but it is harder to see in the eyes of someone you love, knowing you can't take that pain away. Words escaped me then and escape me now, but again, Rita and Addie stepped up to ease us through the day. It was another small and meaningful celebration. On Facebook that day, I wrote this. This past year has been so damned hard for us, and now we celebrate her first since birthday. All the beautiful things I saw in her and the love she showed as a mother, I now see it in the love she has for Addie, his wonderful gift to us. Her strength, her love, her concern, and her guidance have been her gift to me, Rita, and Addie. There are no playbooks for what our little family has gone through, but if there was one, Arleen would be the example used in the section on giving love and support everywhere it is needed, even through her pain. I would in a heartbeat nominate Arleen as Woman of the Year, Wife of the Year, Bubby of the Year, and Friend of the Year. Happy birthday to my true love, my true partner in life, my true soulmate. We all got through April knowing that the cruel parts of May that we long dreaded are now fast approaching. Dear Alex, for now, that ends our story, except I want you to know that your music and your video have been completed, and they're there for everybody to see. Let's end this so everyone can hear how great that song is and how great you were in it. Peace to you, Alex.
Yeah.
Gods and monsters, masters and commanders, tip your hat to the soldiers. Gods and monsters, masters and commanders, tip your hat to the soldiers.
There's a lot of greed in this game, no loyalty. Money is the root of all evil, that's shorty. Casualty. Now I'm rolling down a lonely road, not knowing when the enemy's gonna snatch my soul. I feel the hate in the air, and I see it clear. It's too close to my soul, Lord protect me here. Beware, cause the killers are there. Beware, cause the killers are here. Fear no man but God. When you come at me, you see the sun. I took it and ran, you know that I'm the one. This ain't for fun, the money runs. When the milk moves, the cream comes in a ton. The color money looking real fun. Red, browns, and greens, I'm from the city that slept on.
Gods and monsters, masters and commanders, tip your hat to the soldiers. Salute! Gods and monsters, masters and commanders, tip your hat to the soldiers. Salute! Gods and monsters, masters and commanders, tip your hat to the soldiers. Salute! Gods and monsters, masters and commanders, tip your hat to the soldiers. Salute!
Foul niggas getting caught up in the quiet right. Storm snakes smile when they sleep with my enemy. Time to find out where they live, so I can give them a gift. The one-way trip to hell. Put a silencer on the shelves. My blade cuts well, butchery, bloody beef. I see you coming close, no luck and hope. I see the scope. About to aim and take it at the throat. Old Testament quotes, an eye for an eye, but I take two and watch you go blind. Go against your signs, fire from inside. You used to be G'd up, now you're looking like Rainbow Bright with candy sprinkles. Got me backed in the corner where I'm lethal. A thorough ruled raids, uncaged, unfazed by your ways. And by the way, I'm just around the way. Black suit and vicious, it's a black bandana glove day.
Gods and monsters, masters and commanders, tip your hat to the soldiers. Salute! Gods and monsters, masters and commanders, tip your hat to the soldiers. Salute! Gods and monsters, masters and commanders, tip your hat to the soldiers. Salute! Gods and monsters, masters and commanders, tip your hat to the soldiers. Salute!
How they got the bloods up in the streets playing PS5 just to stay alive. I ain't here to 9 to 5. Turn into the streets, told them ho. Stay outside, they'll catch a cold. Slap them out, fuck, they acting bold. For the game, these men's getting old. Turn on me, catch a slide. Put you up and put you down, you catch the ride. This a playground, see you when you hot. Couple bands I could never stand. Tie you up, I ain't a man. Little homie hit for the gram. Cooked it up, grab a pan. Fall in line, looking at 25. Drop a dime, screaming for the 9. We really bought a crime. Blue clouds got you for the day. When I'm north, drop 'em off. Yeah, I see you when we play.
Gods and monsters, masters and commanders, tip your hat to the soldiers. Salute! Gods and monsters, masters and commanders, tip your hat to the soldiers. Salute! Gods and monsters, masters and commanders, tip your hat to the soldiers. Salute! Gods and monsters,